Okay, Mishlei 21:9, day 2. Tov l'shevas al pinas gag me'eshes midyanim uves chaver. Better to sit on the roof, the corner of a roof, or to dwell on the corner of a roof, than with a contentious wife and a friend's house. Okay, so I know we saw some new translations here. Chaim and I were glancing at the other translations, but let's review what we did yesterday first. So, Sadia Gaon only adds to dwell with a woman who is contentious and burdensome, and then Targum Ksuvim says a complaining woman and a palatial house, a base tarka, which we said presumably means like a either luxurious or large house. Hey, in person. Here, you can pass that to Ezra. Okay, or you can pass it to Ezra. Yeah, so we said, what does Lashevis mean, right? What exactly is this living situation and can be expanded to others? For example, when it says to dwell alone on the roof of a house, is that like any lonely place? Is it any dangerous place? Is it? We weren't sure. Well, depending on what quality you say for Pinas Gag, then you might learn differently for what do you call it? For how far it can be expanded. 2, what is the mashal of Lashev al Pinas Gag? Right, that's the question. What qualities does it highlight other than solitude? 3, better in what sense? Right. 4, what is an Ashes Midyanim? What types of quarrels are they? Petty, substantive? Are they about you or about other people? It doesn't matter. 5, is it limited to a wife, or is it other women, or is it other people you live with? 6, what quality of Ashes Midyanim makes it preferable to dwell on the corner of a roof? 7, what is a base chaver? And why would it not be in your own house? Because that seems to be the mashal, right? Better to live on the roof of your house without her than in your house with her would be like the normal way. So what does it mean base? Why base chaver? 8, what's the relationship between the Ishes Midyanim and the base chaver? What effect does she have on the base chaver? And then what's the havmina? Why would I think that dwelling with an Ishes Midyanim bives chaver is better or good in general? So yesterday we just did the Malbim's idea. Anyone want to say the Malbim's idea from yesterday?
Oh, there was the idea of the toxic woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that that's kind of the effect that she would have on the base color.
Right.
She can either make them toxic towards you, or just make you look bad to them.
Right. And what was the havmi? Like, who's the pasuk talking to? Someone who she poisons all your relationships. Yeah.
Is it someone you're in a relationship with, or just someone?
It's your wife.
It's your wife.
Yeah. Yeah. so what was the havmina though? I think that's what really cleared it up. Like, who's the pasuk talking to? Yeah.
You might think that even though your wife's dead, it's compensated by the fact that you have all these, friends and cousins.
Exactly. Right. So that's the thing is the guy thinks he's making a trade-off, that he's presumably marrying her for some other quality she has, whether it's like beauty, wealth, whatever. And he's like, okay, fine. She's really annoying. She's nagging and she's contentious, but I'm going to get my social needs taken care of by my friends. Kamash Malan, she ruins your friendships, right? Or she makes you miserable among your friends, So that was the Malbim's approach. Now, we found a couple other, so we're going to explore some other approaches today, okay? But we found a couple other translations, yeah.
Just another thought, I don't know if we said this
Sure.
In relation to that.
Yeah.
Also, that your friends could then also, like your wife will be a reflection on you, and so your friends will say like, oh, this is the type of person that he's trying to live with. Like,
oh, that's interesting also,
person,
right.
So that must reflect on.
That's interesting, correct. Yeah, that is another way that they can, that she can indirectly turn your friends against you. Yeah. I feel like there are lots of good examples of that in shows or movies or something. Yeah, but yeah. Okay, so very interesting translation here. We noted that the real Ibn Ezra, the Ksav Yad, says like this: Tov l'sheves al pinas gag lamala mehabayis b'makom megula. So above the house in an exposed area, v'yispul haruach v'hara'ash, and to endure the wind and the rash is noise, or rash is usually noise, but I assume it means like the weather condition, some weather condition. Isn't rash noise?
That means earthquake.
Yeah, but that can't make sense here, right?
Nope.
Yeah, right. And maybe it means noise. I don't know.
Like clamor of like the.
Yeah, it could be of like the streets or something like that. Yeah, it could be. Misheves b'vais im eshes midyan, and then to dwell in the house with a contentious woman. Okay, now check this out. Ubebeis chaver hu malkum she'osin sham kishuf. A base chaver is a place where they do sorcery. Okay, now where does he get that from? Mikizras chaver. Oh, so funny he doesn't quote Devarim. Yeah, chover chaverim michacham. Oh, that's fine. The footnote also asks the same question. So chover chaver is a whisperer of incantations, and that's one of the los ases in sorcery. Maybe it's because Ibn Ezra explains there. Okay, so I guess Ibn Ezra on that pasuk says it's someone who like summons demons. And it's not sorcery. So he wants to say sorcery, which is why he quotes Tehillim Nun Ches Vav. If you also look the Sefer Chukah, which is Rav Yosef Kimchi, on the bottom left above the Mitzvah Zion, it says Tov l'shes al pinas gad me'eshes midan beis chaver beis machashefa, the house of a witch, ubalas ov, and a necromanceress. I assume that's how we call it, right? Female necromancer, or do you just call them all a necromancer? Yeah. I gotta ask some of my politically correct friends if the accepted phrase these days is necromanceress or necromancer. Zachar bakan shtaim raos. It's mentioning two evils. Achas tova keneged raas ha'acheres. Oh, so this is an interesting thing, right? So the way we learned it, I think, with the house of a friend, it was really saying like, it was portraying the house of a friend as a good. But if you're going to read it as a house of sorcery, it's saying two bad things, and it's saying that, yeah. So I just really want to figure this out because it just, I don't know, enchanted my mind when I read it. Is what is up with translating as a base chaver as a house of sorcery? Like, what does it even mean?
And also just to clarify how we read the pasuk.
Yeah.
Also, then we have to read that as separate things. Right? Then there would be no halamin. Why would you go for two evils over one?
Right. Well, it is a house with a contentious woman that has sorcery present. I don't know if she's the. No one has said outright that she is the sorceress, right? Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yaakov?
Didn't the Ibn Ezra say Uba beis chaver?
Oh, did he? Yeah, you're right. Uba beis chaver. But that could still mean though. Oh, meaning sitting alone on a roof is better than living with a contentious woman, and it's better than living in a beis chaver?
No, I mean they're both combined.
Well, that's how I would want to learn it. But oh yeah, fine, you're right, not or. Yeah. But what kind of combo is that?
That question even stronger.
Yeah, I mean, does anyone, and this when I say anyone, I mean, does Isaac Lifter associate to a Mishnah and Avos? Isaac?
Not off the top of my head.
Marbe Nashim Marbe Kishev.
Oh yes.
The more women, the more sorcery. Okay. So I guess it was, and that's also why the Torah says, so it's usher for both men and women to engage in sorcery. Okay, we're equal opportunity religion, put both of them to death. But why? So why does the Torah say mechashefa lo sechayeh? Don't let a witch live. Doesn't say warlock.
Right.
Because it was more common among women, right? So like I don't know if there's some sort of like social or like historical premise that we're missing about was this a common thing? I don't know.
The reason that Rבינו Yona gives for Marbe Nashim Marbe Kshafim,
yeah,
is that if you have multiple wives, they're gonna compete for your attention.
Right.
So they're gonna turn
or make love potions.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna turn to sorcery to try to get your attention.
Right. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. Oh man. See, you have to. Okay, this is a side speculation here. Okay, if we're talking, so the way we kind of portrayed the Ashes Midyanim yesterday was that she loves drama, right? So she either has to create drama, like we said, that she could even start fights among your friends, or she could start fights with you or whatever. So you have to imagine. And again, I'm saying this with it wasn't that bad at Shalhevet, but every group of women, there's going to be some who are very into drama. So if you think about women who have that quality and they think that they could do sorcery to influence social things, that's a deadly combo. Like for example, if you look at I think there are lots and lots of objective studies done on this now. I just don't have them at hand, but the dynamics of girls on social media leads to far more actual harm and unhappiness than the way that guys tend to use social media, because of the nature of the the types of like ostracism and like teasing and stuff. So can you imagine like if you have all those dynamics, but you think that you can actually do sorcery to like affect things? That's really, really bad.
There are people nowadays who actually believe it's in like witchcraft. Like,
Oh yeah, right. It's just not, I assume, not as common. I hope it's not as common. Yeah. Is there some TikTok trend I'm not aware of like, yeah. Yeah. Someone's gonna have to do research on that and see. Yeah.
Although going on the point that I think Isaac was bringing up, the idea of like quarrelsome wives,
Yeah.
with or without like Kishuf and whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, you just look at like Yaakov and his wives. Like,
Yeah.
You know, like they kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a theme in the Torah, right? Is that all the situations pretty much where there are two wives and ends up badly. Yeah, two or more wives. Yeah.
That's how I'll call it, like Saros. You know,
Right. Exactly.
wives.
Yeah. Troublemakers.
Yeah.
Right. Or troubles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I guess that would kind of like. Yeah.
Yeah. So can we figure this out?
Like,
And also just to note, because I think we got too caught up in the sorcery stuff. He's learning on a roof as not that the quality is alone. I mean, it is alone, but he doesn't say that. He says it is exposed to the elements, right? So it does seem like there is a danger or harm quality that's being compared here. You know, like you are in physical danger or physical discomfort at the very least if you are on the roof, but that's better than being in the house with her and her sorcery. Such a
We're going based off the possibility that the property of the woman and the base.
Yeah.
So it didn't literally mean based on her, and it's saying not to be dependent on other people's houses, but not to be on other people.
Well, not according to this, right? Because this is not. Oh, sorry. According, you're saying not the sorcery interpretation.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
house of.
kind of the sorcery, like a little bit of that.
So I think it can't be both because here he's saying Chaver is a house of sorcery, has nothing to do with friendship. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. By the way, do you know anyone know this is a vocab thing? Anyone know the English word if you're going to use Chaver to mean sorcery? Fill in the sentence: the witch and her blank. Have you heard the term
Familiar.
familiar?
yes.
Yeah, right. A witch is familiar. Familiar is a witch's companion, which is usually a demon or some sort of animal that like she has control over. You know, so I think chaver, familiar is like the English thing. Yeah, yeah. All right. Always fun to know and use an obscure word, like the sweet spot, like right there. Yeah. So can we? I think the approach to take would be what effect are these two going to have in combination? Like, why would the pasuk combine a contentious wife and sorcery? Because we know that there are a lot of other pasukim we saw yesterday, or I mentioned yesterday, of just dwelling with a contentious woman alone. Like, that's bad enough, you know? Yeah.
Does this mean when he says sorcery?
Yeah.
Like if we're going with that, what does that mean? I guess like what does sorcery mean here?
I mean, if
Does
there,
it mean like she thinks she's like having effects on you, or does it mean like some sort of like actual sorcery that they believed at the time?
well, that's the machlokas. I mean, I don't know what. I mean, Ibn Ezra does not hold that sorcery is real. I don't know what Rav Yosef Kimchi holds. I know his son holds that it's not real. The Radak holds it's not real. But but I would think that it doesn't. Well, actually, it might matter, right? Because if you hold that she's actually going to be
as far as like physical harm matters, then it
right. That's true. Right. If she's actually using supernatural means to harm you,
yeah.
then
Then it would make sense to draw on the roof, like exposed to the elements.
yeah.
Because you're not being, I don't know, whatever witches do to you.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you're not being subject to that at least.
Right.
Because then I see like a parallel.
Correct. Yeah. That fits in much better. Right.
Yeah. If magic is like actually doing something to you.
Okay.
Or
So
maybe she's like trying to like poke you with like needles and being like, I'm going to do my magic to you.
well, here's the
You know,
interesting thing. I mean, in terms of your question about what is the magic,
yeah.
I'm not familiar with this pasuk in Tehillim, but if this is Beis Machashefa and Balas Ov, so Balas Ov is a fortune, is an oracle.
Right.
You know, is someone who's trying to like, what was it?
Is it the one with the bow under the arm?
That's the Yadoa. Yeah, yeah. We had a chazara on this at Isaiah and Tomorrow's on Shabbos. We spent a good deal of time talking about these two Easter. Yeah, this is the one where you basically try to consult the you you consult the dead, basically. This is like,
Maybe upside down.
the Shita we read did not involve being upside down. It did involve sleeping in the graveyard.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. This is Shaul and Shmuel, yeah. Yeah. So the question is like, is she using this to get inside info, or is she using this to harm you, or to harm other people? But see, I think, okay, I'm gonna make a move here. Again, it's hard for us to know this without the without knowing exactly like what the base Chaver reference is here, like what they actually did back then. But maybe it's saying that, those like this. A contentious woman is going to be very vindictive, right? She's going to like take out her grudges on you in different ways. And I think it's easy to underestimate the amount of damage that she can do. And base Chaver is somehow some other tool in her arsenal that she's using to cause you pain, whether it is actual magic that she's using to harm you, or whether she's like I guess again, it's really hard for us to get societal parallels now, but like if the Sefer Chukah is talking about consulting an actual necromancer and she's like getting inside info on you, this could be like the woman who's like snooping through like your emails and like checking your phone, like stuff like that, like getting involved in getting like trying to dig up knowledge about you that she uses against you somehow.
We should work with the Mal that we said yesterday, right? Meaning that like she's going to
Similar dynamic, right?
Poison,
Exactly, yeah.
Meaning because if she finds like I don't know whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know how like they do like the every celebrity has got a tweet from like 20 years ago.
Exactly, yeah.
10 years ago,
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, she tries to get you canceled. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, Sean.
Could also be highlighting like the secrecy and the deceit of like sorcery and that whole
Right.
And that's like emphasizing what type of character.
Yeah, so that's another interesting thing. If you take that into the sphere of relationships, is that a healthy relationship will involve honest and open communication to try to like again, take the Torah's the Torah's model of this, which Ari and Jesse spoke about 2 Shabbos ago at the Oneg, of the if you have someone wrongs you, what does the Torah want you to do? The Torah wants you to go and actually talk about it with them to try to reconcile and get peace. But the other way to do it is to like go through some backhanded way, whether through sorcery or like consulting other people, and that just tends to fan the flames of the dispute, or to amplify misunderstandings, or make suspicions even more powerful. See you see the portrait we're painting here, that a woman who has this midah of loving drama and who has recourse to some other tool that she's using to try to or that fuels that part of her personality, that's just going to end in disaster. Like, I feel like we're dancing around the idea.
Yeah.
But and that's why the Ibn Ezra says that it has to do with the danger of being on the roof, is that the mistake is the guy thinks this isn't dangerous. I think okay, maybe this is another move here. Okay, that it's very easy. So there are people with unpleasant character traits, but not all unpleasant character traits are dangerous. So for example, you can have someone who has an annoying personality, okay? And you could even have someone who, let's say like the Sadyagon, a complaining woman who might make your life miserable, but saying that there's an actual danger is different, that she can actually like again, ruin your relationships, your business, your reputation, something like that. That's another thing that again occurs nowadays, is that you have people who will, I guess men do this also, but like men and women who, they'll get into a fight and then they will engage in forms of character assassination online by like sharing things that shouldn't be shared, and so like, I think the mistake is this guy has to know that she is Eishes Midyanim in terms of like, she has this personality, but he thinks to himself, okay, this is not a danger, this is just an annoyance. And what the pasuk is saying is, no, it's you are safer in the most dangerous location in your house than putting yourself with her, because there's no telling what she's going to do if that personality plays itself out in tools that can actually harm people.
Well,
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
just also then too with the Havamina could be then is at least you very clearly see the danger. Like it's very clear and present when you're putting yourself al pinat God, where
Yeah.
it's not when this is something that could potentially happen with her personality and with the thing that she does. So it's much easier to just see, well, I shouldn't put myself in necessary danger by being al pinat God.
Right. Yeah. That's that's some we related. Someone said a similar point yesterday, right? About like the probabilities.
I said it, but in the flip.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Chaim?
The possibility is then I like the it's real danger.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of like if you go into like the extreme of like this drama of like this dramatic person.
Yeah.
It would be like people nowadays with like false like allegations of like rape.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
like-
actually a very good
that's, like,
example.
crazy.
Yeah.
Like that's ruined people. All
Right.
The time, you know?
That's a very, very, very good example. Right. Is false accusations have a, I mean, it really is like, again, it apparently not according to Ibn Ezra on the Chumash, but according to the Rambam, Chover Chaver is, and Sefer Chinuch is incantations. And that has an incantation-like ability where you say words and the words have this like larger than life effect. Yeah. Okay, this is interesting. You want to go to a different shot now?
Sure.
Okay, let's try, who do I want to do? Rבינו Yona. Let's read Rבינו Yona. I think I saw that was good, but I could be wrong. Okay, bottom left of the Rבינו Yona. Tov l'shavas al pinas gag me'ishes midam beis chaver. Be'er ha'inyan u'beis chaver. Alpha pi she'yihye beveso. Even though he has in his house. Oh, that's short. Chaverim rabim v'tovim. Chavras isha hara tishakeach v'tashbis konom chavrasam. Even though he has in his house lots of good friends, the companionship of a evil wife will make you forget and will cause to cease all pleasantness of their friendship. And you will not be able to be consoled by them. Due to the contentiousness of her tongue and the depression caused by her friendship. That sounds like the Malbim, right? It's not a new idea. Let's look at. Yeah.
Are they saying like a group house?
I think he just means if you have friends in your house. I think he's grappling with that same question we had of like why a base chaver. He's saying no, it means if your house has your chaverim in it, you know. And I like his use of the word lehis nachem to console yourself, because that's what the guy says is, okay, fine, I've got this woman. I'll just invite my friends over all the time, and she's gonna interfere with that.
Or like we all live in like the same neighborhood.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That sounds to me a little bit different than the Malbim. That sounded like not like a poison thing as much as like a thorn in your side type of thing, where even just her presence, even if she's not actually negatively affecting the other people,
yeah,
just her presence itself will be a pain.
Correct. Yeah, that could be. Yeah. I didn't mean to say that was the Malbim in the sense of the same dynamic, but the same subject.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Let's look at the Meiri, see what he says. Tov l'shavas al pinas gag me'eshes midyanim beis chaver. Gina ha'isha hara. So this pasuk is degrading the evil wife. By the way, I find it interesting that I don't know when they say Isha Ra'a, if they mean that she actually is evil or Ra in the sense of unpleasant. Okay, we'll see. And it is trying to get you to avoid, I think Histofu is like taking shelter in her tent, in the tent with her. I don't know if that's some sort of like biblical reference that I'm not aware of. The Amar shetov l'shavas al zavis hagag la'avir u'laruach midur im ishis midyanim. Better to dwell on the corner of the roof in the air and in the wind than to dwell with the ishis midyanim. Ratalomer balas merivos uktatos, a contentious woman. Okay. Ubeis chaver pirshu bo balas kshafim. Okay, you can also say it's a sorceress. Miloshin chaver chaver uladati pirush miloshin chaver mamish. He says, I think it's literally a friend. Kamo chaver kohanim. Makavana isha tzoekes, a woman who's like yelling. Shemis kapsim hashchenim bevesa tamid, that the neighbors gather in her house all the time. Lahashkit hamiyasa v'tzakasa. So your neighbors hear her yelling. Oh, this is like on Dinsmore where I live, right? Is that there's a woman like this that she's always yelling at the top of her lungs to her about her husband. And I think other people call the cops. I think we've done it a couple times. It's I can't because you can't tell whether she's like. I think at this point I think she's just very, very angry, you know. But I don't think like I think sometimes it sounds like threat, but I think it's just, you know. But that's a weird one, right? He's saying Beis Chaver means a house that all friends run to because she's always yelling. Is that weird? It's a weird thing. You see how everyone's having a hard time with this Beis Chaver thing, you know?
But I like that he brings in both ideas.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned both of them.
Yeah, and again, that's why Meiri is in the S ranking, because he brings multiple Pirushim. Yeah.
And but the Devarim pasuk, which is interesting.
Yes. Yeah. He actually does quote that one. Yeah. Yeah. What kind of thing is that? So it sounds like she's annoying even to other people, right?
Like disturbing the peace.
Disturbing the peace. Yeah. In other words, this would be the same. I think this would also count as like, again, in the realm of social media, where your interactions with people are not limited to being in their physical proximity. I think there are people who get annoyed. Let's say like I don't know. I hear about like WhatsApp groups of neighborhoods, or of like parents of kids in the same grade, where like there are certain parents who are always just complaining, and like. Yeah, right. So, like there is a thing where they're disturbing the peace of the social group.
Yeah. Then what's the
what's the idea? Yeah.
They're sitting on your roof.
On the yeah.
Well, also like then what is Beis Chaver like coming to say? Is that saying that like so that's going with it, meaning this isn't a positive. Beis Chaver here isn't a positive thing for you.
Base, right. A base that attracts Chaverim for bad reasons.
Yeah.
A Chaver complaint magnet.
I wonder if these Chaverim of hers, or Chaverut, whatever, are like negative people also. Like she's like a
sounds like they're
she pulls like her other.
Sounds like they're just stom neighbors. It doesn't even sound like they're friends, right? Like he says, they saw Tamid lahashkit hamiyasa v'tzakasa. It could be also, unless they are her friends and they're trying to like comfort her, but she's one of these people who like is just inconsolable.
Then it becomes even more explosive. Like when like one like toxic person and then like a bunch of other toxic people come together.
But they're not necessarily toxic, is what I'm saying. I'm saying that they're trying to quiet her down, not that like they all complain to each other. Yeah.
And then you're like on the roof.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. So there the imagery does make a lot more sense, right? That you're gonna have to. So in other words, there is, and I think this is what we learned in the previous pasuk that Isaac referenced yesterday, that you're going to basically be driven to the extremities of your own house to escape the annoyance that's in the house. You're a prisoner in your own home, as they say. Yeah, Yaakov.
If this woman is so bad or so dangerous, why wouldn't the advice be to divorce her?
Yeah, so I feel like we've had questions like this before about the about all the psukim that have to do with like having bad marriages, and I think we've said that either like the bar for divorce was much higher back then. I don't know if this is true or not. I mean, we know that divorce statistics are out of control in the United States and in many parts of the Western world, but so it's possible that it just wasn't as common back then. Or it's possible that you can't always simply just like divorce your wife. Like there are like other factors, that prevent it, and that a person might be willing to tolerate this, even though it's very, very unpleasant.
Even like at this point, it would be even worse.
Yeah, like you imagine if this is what her friends are doing in the marriage, yeah.
And then it comes out later, she says all these things about you,
Yeah, there's extenuating circumstances.
That's when those false like allegations come out.
Yeah,
like she gets
it's
really
interesting.
excited,
Let's look really quickly at the Raw Bog, who's gonna be at the end of the packet.
He also has darkening stars.
Oh, did he? Oh, sorry. Let's do that. It's gonna be more fun. The Meiri did the Derek Nister. Is that on the next page?
Yeah.
Oh, missed it. It was that hidden. Okay. Derek Nister. Karu Razal Hadvarim Shein Hatam Shalhem Mevorer Poreach Ba'avir. Okay. So Chazal call things where the reason is unclear. They call it like sprouting in the air. Okay. Amram Zal Heter Nadarim Porchim Ba'avir Ve'en Lahem Ami Sheyismochu. I'm not familiar with that reference in Nadarim. Isaac, are you? Can you? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's like, there's very little in the Psukim that's like that like Heter Nadarim is based on.
Okay, so the basis of Heter Nadarim is like sprouts out of thin air, Yeah,
because it's based on the fact that if you make a neder and you don't have like the proper like mindset when you're doing like the proper, if you make the neder and it's like a mistake,
Yeah.
based on a mistake, then it's not a valid neder.
Mhm.
And like it's the whole heteronorm is based on finding ways to show that really your neder was a mistake.
Okay.
It's like a whole like
Right. So I'm assuming that it's not going to be based on that's not going to go into his idea. He's just trying to bring support that this is a phrase that's used. V'chein hena, so to here, kara pinas gag, it calls the corner of a roof. Ha'amanas hadavar mibli mofis v'raya rak mitada kabbalah. Belief in something without proof or evidence, but only based on Masorah. Okay, so that's what we're calling the roof of a house. Okay, let's see where he goes with this. V'kara chachmas hamechkar derech klal. This is wild, and it's calling the Chachmas HaMechkar, which I assume he means like speculative philosophy, like when you're actually like investigating the rational basis for believing things. It calls that a contentious wife and a house of a friend. Mitzad shehim divrei rivos, because they are matters of argumentation. Okay, v'remez al hapinos hatorios she'ein yad ha'iyun sholetas bahem. It's alluding to, okay, this is a clever pun. Okay, pina means corner, but it also means cornerstone. Okay, which is another word for what we call like yesodei haTorah. So it's alluding to Torah yesodos that literally the hand of analysis cannot dominate them. Okay, meaning there are certain yesodei Torah that we know through proof, like God's existence and God's non-physicality, and Torah Sinai. But then there are other ones that we have absolutely no proof for, like Yemos Mashiach or Tchias Amesim, right? That the only way we know it is through Kabbalah, right? It's through reliable Masorah. Shiroi lismoch behem al mishenes hakabbalah, and in there it is roy to rely on it based on Kabbalah. So according to him, what's the idea here in the Derech HaNistar? Let me repeat the facts, right? He's saying better to sit on the roof of a house means better to rely on matters that are only verifiable through Masorah in those areas that can only be verified through Masorah than to dwell in a house of a contentious woman and a house of friends, which means then to enter into the realm of speculative philosophy and proof. Right, but what's the idea? What's the mistake that a person's making?
The mistake is.
Well, if you put a lot of trust in your mind, if your mind does not explicitly tell you that these things are true, then you're just not going to believe them.
Is this like comparable?
Oh, hold on a second, before we go to Mati, just say what you mean again, David.
If you're only going to believe in things that are very, very, very clear and true to your mind in ways that you were able to obtain it on your own, then you're not going to believe in these things that are also, as you're saying, are fundamental things. And then you're going to then come out with incorrect, just overall philosophical ideas, even though you are doing what would be presumably a good idea to trust your mind.
Okay, good. So let me just, actually, what did you want to add? I thought you had a different idea.
Is this similar to the idea that good doctors go to hell?
I'm not familiar with that idea.
Like there's a thing that good doctors go to hell because they think that they're like above getting sick or something, and they heal other people. They're like God, so they all go to hell.
That's interesting. And what's the connection to this?
That they think it comes from themselves, like things they figure out.
So that's interesting. So that it might be related as a cause to it. I'm going to take a more conservative approach here, and then I'll speculate about how maybe it's what you're saying. But here's the thing: Judaism is pro analysis and proof, but only in areas that you can prove it. Okay, for example, and the Meiri says this best actually on Pesi Yamin L'chol Davar V'Aram Yavin La'ashuro, that a simpleton believes everything, but a cunning person understands every step. There, the Meiri says that basically, there are, that when it comes to beliefs that can be verified by reason, then you should, exert yourself to the utmost to understand every single step. However, there are things, and even fundamental things, that cannot be proven except through Masorah. And if you hold those things to the same standard of I'm going to prove this philosophically, so then you are going to go off the derech, because you cannot prove Tchias Amesim intellectually. You only can prove Torah Sinai, and then get nevuah, and then that verifies nevuah, and Tchias Amesim through nevuah, or you can't prove schar v'onesh, So it's a mistake about like becoming so enamored with the realm of proof and evidence that you apply it across the board, even to things that cannot be proven. And then you, what happens is what W was saying is like, you end up then like just not believing in those things, you know? Yeah, it's,
as we were talking about, I was
Yeah.
like, wow, like that's actually like that's applied to me very much so.
so, and I want to differentiate this from another mistake, which this is what I wasn't sure if you were saying. And this is another mistake, which is there is another thing where you're doing something that can be proven, but you yourself have not arrived at a proof, either because you're incapable or because you are doing it in the wrong way or whatever. So there, the mistake is to abandon it if you have a reliable Masorah. In other words, like the reason why we have Torah Misinai is so that you have something that is rational to rely on, and you don't have to prove everything in order to rely on it. In other words, like, and that's another problem is people go into these areas, let's say like God's existence, that they're not capable of, or they don't have access to good proofs. And then they set up their own, this is close to what Mati was saying, they set up their own intellect as the entire measure of truth. And then when they can't prove it, then they deny the thing, when really they should be relying on Kabbalah, you know?
I've gotten to the point where
Yeah.
I don't understand this because I either don't have like I haven't been looking in the right places.
Yeah.
Or I just haven't understood it yet. But then I'm like, but there are many people I know who I think are more smart
Correct.
than me,
Yeah.
and, like,
That's
they
the,
believe in it, and I'm
yeah,
like,
that's,
if they believe in it, then
that's good. That's good. And again, and it is a related mistake, but it is different because here he's Davka saying things that cannot be proven as opposed to things that can be proven. Yeah. So one methodology point you see from here, by the way, is that you see he's comfortable taking Chazal's idioms and saying that, and then reading them into the psukim. You know, now I don't know if that's because he holds that the psukim, that these idioms were around during the time of Chazal or what, but like when we're learning the Derech Nisra, that's just interesting to keep that in mind. What was that?
What do you mean by that?
Or sorry, that the Chazal's idioms were around during the time of Shlomo HaMelech.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
that's what I meant. Yeah,
I was confused.
yeah. Like he's saying, Porchim Ba'avir is from Chazal. I don't think it says that in any of the psukim. Otherwise, he would have quoted it. And so he's assuming that that's what Shlomo was alluding to. Yeah. Okay, that was fun, an interesting class. Yes, thank you. Recap. You can go if you have to go. But so we said first idea we did was the sorcery thing, which is that if you take the personality of a drama queen wife who's involved in these sort of like social thingies, and you combine her with some tool that allows her to channel that into the real world, whether it's sorcery or social media, then that's a dangerous combination. And don't think that it's just going to be unpleasant. It's actually going to be hazardous. Okay. Then we had Rביnu Yona, who's similar to the Malbim enough that she's going to negate any pleasure you get from your friends. Then we had was there an idea from the first part of the Meiri or the Nigla or not? Not really. Okay. Yeah, not that we got. And then the
No, right. He brought down the pasuk of Chol Chaver, and then
right.
he said, "L'udati karich moshe chaver mamash."
Right. And then the last idea that don't make the mistake of relying on your mind for evidence in areas that can't be proven. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the reminder. All right. Have a good day.
Thank you.
No, just my